Thank you for all coming out tonight. If you can believe it, we were actually already at the end of the first quarter of 2023. This is insane, but welcome tonight. This is our town hall for the first quarter. We're going to go ahead and just kind of show what our agenda is for tonight. I'm going to make a couple of introductions, and then we're going to roll into our annual meetings that we are required to have. I'll touch base a little bit more on there of some action items that I'm going to need some assistance from y'all on tonight for the annual meetings. So the agenda, again, introduction, annual meetings, we're going to do some updates from the community life team as well as the development team, and then we're going to get into the question and answer session. So tonight we have with Brookfield, we have Brad Shelton, who's the division president, and we have Matt Chase, which is the vice president of Community Association. We also have some of our board members here tonight, and the board members actually serve for the master and for the condos. We have Matt Chase, which is the president, and we have Allison Grotzinger here, who is new to the board. So they're also present with us tonight. And then you've got some of the community life team. I'm Tiffany, Paul, Angie is here, and then we also have Stella, who is the new communications coordinator. She's behind the scenes, working the camera. But as you can see, there's a whole group of us here. Feel free, this is the contact information. It's our office phone number as well as the general email for us, so you can get a hold of us at any point in time. Move on to the next one. So we're going to go into the annual meetings. So with the annual meetings are meetings of the members. So as you can see, an action item is on here is to approve the meeting minutes. There were some minutes that I had printed out on here in the table. If you didn't get any, I can definitely grab them. When we get to that section, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes. So if somebody from Master Association will actually move to approve them, or if you have any questions, we can definitely address those, and then we can just kind of move through this. So I'm going to go ahead and call the master board annual meeting to call at 6:34. We do have quorum. So the action items, because we're in a developing community, there's not a lot of action items. So it is just to approve the annual meeting minutes. I'll give you just a minute to review them. I do have them on the screen as well if you didn't happen to pick up a handout. So if you take a minute, make a motion to approve. Have any questions, let me know.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you. So the only other action item on here is really just an announcement, and that's to talk about our architectural committee. We put in place an architectural committee last year. There are terms with the architectural committee, and we have 2 positions that are coming up. This is just an announcement. We will be sending additional information out. So if you are interested in joining the committee, please look for that announcement, fill out the form, and then there will be more information that will come to that. So with that, we do not have any additional business. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:36. And we're going to roll right into the annual meeting for EP Residential Condos. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:36. We do have quorum. And again, the only action item we have is to approve the minutes. There was a handout out there, but they are on the screen also. So if I can get a motion from anybody that lives in the condo section.
Have anybody here from the company?
From Union.
Okay. Got it. You're the motion.
Perfect. Do we have a second by chance? Perfect. So with that, we have no additional business. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this one at 6:36. Oh, I'm going to get right into the community life updates. Thank you for all the questions. We had some really good questions that came through. These are some that I received quite a few questions about, and that's pool umbrellas. Pool umbrellas, they're on order. I received confirmation they are scheduled to be here the first week of May. So you are getting pool umbrellas. The next is just to talk about special requests. This is any request that you may have for maybe additional dog stations that are throughout the community, or if you want possibility of any additional fitness equipment, anything that you would like to make a special request for. If you will email eastonpark@coherelife.com, that actually will come to me, and I will, if it's an association expense, then I will actually evaluate that, see what we're able to do, work with the board, and we will go from there. If it's more of something from the development side, then I will work with that team as far as what those requests are that come through.
And if I can jump in real quick, what we're really trying to do is, we have some residents who go to the sales team, so their salesperson that are still on site saying, hey, I'd like this to get done. And then sometimes it just gets lost getting up to here. So we ask that everybody reach out to Tiffany, let Tiffany be that spoke that sends that information out to the right individuals. That way she's able to keep track of it for us as well, to be honest. And we're able to get a response out to y'all faster. Instead of waiting for these meetings and things like that. Even if it's something that directly involves just your home, instead of going to the salesperson, reach out to Tiffany. Obviously your warranty person, things like that, reach out to warranty for whoever your builder was. But anything outside of that within the community, instead of going to the sales team and asking them to talk to our land team out here who does all the development, get with Tiffany, and then she can make sure that that's getting filtered to the right person.
So the next item is Explorers Day. So this is actually something that y'all may know or have heard of as the new owner orientation. We revamped it and we call it Explorers Day. This is actually something that we do every quarter. And as the original plan was kind of more towards the new owner orientation, we actually want to take it taking a different approach and inviting everybody. We want everybody to come out. This is a perfect opportunity to actually get in front of the community life team, have that face-to-face time, ask those questions, but also you're introduced to clubs, groups, partnerships that are also present at the event. Not only that, but we play some really cool games and you go into a drawing for some gift baskets. So we do this every single quarter. The next one is actually April 26th. We do push information out, RSVP. We also feed you tacos. So please join. Even if it's just to come in and just kind of see what it's about. Stop in, see what it is. Have any special questions or anything like that, we're absolutely here for that. So it's just something that we wanted to revamp and just kind of get a little more availability to everybody to come out. So again, April 26th, be on the lookout for that one. Now I'm going to turn this over to Paul, and so we can talk about our events and our engagement program.
So we have quite a few events lined or listed for April and a little bit of March. This is not a comprehensive list, but some of the things that are really exciting coming our way. So to go to April 7th is we are kicking off Music in the Park. It is the first concert show of this year. Nicole and Ryan are your neighbors, and they help procure those local artists that perform here at the Union. So we are really excited to restart this signature series for this year. That's April 7th. Tickets are at no cost, but you do need to reserve them in advance. After April 7th, we have our annual Easter extravaganza. This time it will take place in Bryant Park. We will have age identified egg hunts. We'll also have a professional photographer. You can take family portraits with the Easter Bunny. We will send out those edited photos shortly after. Following Easter, we have one of our newest events is our Spring Fling. So this is a dating/matchmaking event, and that is being hosted by one of your neighbors as well. I will give you a small teaser, is that the theme for this is floral. So you can get decked out in all the flowers, and that is your Spring Fling. Following that, April 26th is our Explorers Day that Tiffany just talked about. And then following April 29th is our semi-annual garage sale. If you have not already shown interest in that, you can either fill out the form via the post that went out today, or you can email eastonpark@coherelife.com. And we will register your house, and then we might follow up with a question that says, what category are your items for sale? And then we'll put that on an entire list, resend out to the community so you know which homes are participating in our community garage sale. That event is from 8 a.m. to noon. Following that garage sale, we have our Earth Day market. So we're bringing in local vendors that focus on sustainability and recycling, either in the St. Marcus area and Austin. And we're also partnering with our gardening club and a sustainability club to help facilitate this. We'll have products for sale, as well as educational services and different programs. That was the list of upcoming events. We've had some pretty great events that have happened in this past month. So we've had our Sweet Tree Social, we've had our Valentine's Day celebration, and then following what we just had last week was our Eastcation. So this is an annual event where we bring vacation to y'all. So it was a 3-part series. The first part was Bands and Brunch, which is right underneath the Eastcation 2023 header. Following that, we had our Sky's the Limit Kite Festival. We had our food truck out here. And most importantly, one of your neighbors, Mark Riojas, kindly sponsored 2 bouncy houses for this event. We like to have more out events. So if you like those bouncy houses, there will be more of that. Following Sky's the Limit, we had a comedy show that is smack dab in this presentation. And that was hosted by your neighbors, Alfie and Rebecca. They also brought in 5 additional local comedians, and that was a hilarious time. So this is just a brief recap of Eastcation. This is an annual event, so if you miss it this year, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, but it'll come back next year.
So with that, we are at the point of doing a development update. So I'm going to hand this on over to Brookfield.
So this one's pretty short. Skyline Park, y'all see all the movement out there. Everything's on track as of now. Additional, you wanted to add?
You can see how it's shaping up. So all these pictures you see side where the bridge is shown in that upper right, you can see kind of where that's getting warmed up and stuff. So a lot of it's for view. We ask you to go drive onto the site. Don't look at it that way. Don't walk onto the site. There's no fences up right now, but you're going to continue to see all this get built out over the next 6 months. So we're aiming for the end of the year. So there's things that we're trying to do to make that faster, and there's things that probably come up over the next few months that might make it be longer. So the target right now is the end of the year.
With that, we will get right into Q&A. So we've got a couple of questions regarding commercial. Real quick, also, if you've submitted any of the questions, you may see some of your questions up here partially because I receive a lot about the same topic. But if one of your questions is not answered here, you will either get a response directly from me if it has more to do with community life, or if it is from the development, I will get that information if we do not have time to get to it. Or if there's anything that may be missed on here, I will get that information out to you. So the first one says, what is the timeline for the commercial development?
So at the last town hall, we talked about how getting site plan reviews and permits has been a challenge with the city of Boston. So they're in the same boat as we are. So right now, you should start seeing some type of construction mid-year and building starting and opening probably Q1 of next year.
Are there any changes to the stores going into the commercial building?
No, everything that's been previously announced is still going.
Who will be responsible for the landscaping?
So the developer that is developing the land will install the landscape. They'll follow this paint palette, or not paint palette, landscape palette, with the rest of Easton Park. And then just like, Easton Park, Home Community Association, they're, Easton Park Commercial Association, so they're their own POA, Property Owners Association. There's one owner, so it's kind of funny how we're working through some of that contract with them right now. But they're responsible for maintaining the landscape in that area. And the Master Association has some crossover where if they're not maintaining, they can push them to maintain.
So the next, this is going into the future amenities, is what is the timeline for the next amenity building?
So the next one is Skyline Park, and as we said later this year. As for the next amenity, we talked about that would happen within conjunction with Slaughter Lane being completed, which is at least a couple of years down the road. So once that's ready to be chatted about, trust me, it's something we'll talk about for sure.
What is the timeline for the Union Park West Park?
So same thing, we're still waiting for permits. As soon as those permits are provided, we'll start getting ready. Right now, certainly like Q3. That's not a promise. And Brad, especially with that group, we're disappointed to see this. We're pushing as hard as we can to get that done. We worked with that group to get this part going, and so we're not kicking the can down the road. We're just being forced to hold out right now.
Just kind of circling back to the last question, what are the preliminary requirements to start on this water? Getting started on stuff.
Market conditions and utility construction, everything that goes into developing a major road within the community.
Yeah, is there gonna be city funding for all of that, or is that all funded through the?
Is there any city funding? No, they don't. They wouldn't give us any dollars. No. So the MUDs are our funding vehicle. So the MUDs you pay into help pay for utility and infrastructure. But no, nothing from the city.
So there shouldn't be any kind of requirement for city approval for budget. It's just market conditions and.
No, it requires their approval because it's city of water. It's city of Austin water.
But the permit, I think you said budget, I think the question. So
Yeah.
they don't have any budget review.
There's no budget requirement. We're paying the full budget in 2 years, cancel through the construction.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it's developer funded. So it's really the city permit and then the developer in the market conditions, as Matt mentioned.
Doesn't drive my question. Perfect, thank you.
Part of the UPW park, there's a basketball court, a pickleball court still playing. Will the people in the apartment residents?
Someone from the domain in North Austin could come and use that park. It's a public park. Every park in this community is public. Yeah, every park in Easton Park, other than the building that we're sitting in, is public. This is the only private facility.
Next question is, has an official park name been selected for Union Park West Park?
Yes, it'll be called Union Park West Park.
That
Just
was
like all the
actually,
other parks, Bryant Park, Noddville Park, or Noddville Park, Skyline Park. So other than the smaller, like pocket parks, you don't really need pocket parks, but yeah, each section has its own kind of like permanent park, and you just name it that.
what is the timeline for Prospect Park?
It's being bid out and target is Q3 of this year.
Is there any update on the Idea School property?
Nothing as of yet.
Are there large-scale plans for walkability in the short and near term, not just the trails?
So walkability has two kind of definitions. If you're talking about pathways, I mean, every street within the community is has a sidewalk per Travis County standards on each side, except in certain areas. So that, along with the trails, there's miles of walkability within the community. We talk about walkability from, when we go to stores and things like that. Yeah, of course. We mentioned probably about 3 town halls ago, and maybe we'll go into more future land planning at the next town hall. But we have a big commercial section that'll be coming online in a few years, which increases that walkability score as they belong to different areas, commercial, retail, things like that. Even possibly work, depending on what gets built out there.
They're built for restarting construction in that area, so a few years down the road.
Yeah.
Market driven too. The only thing that's been, and I'll just share this with the group for those that are interested, the only thing that is absolute in that commercial area that is along 183 between roughly Slaughter and William Cannon is that we are obligated, but we're excited to donate 10 acres to Cat Metro. So there'll be I think they call it a rapid circulating station, to have that terminology right. It's some form of basically a high-speed bus that runs downtown commuter. So it's not the bus that stops every couple of blocks. It's the one that runs pretty fast in and out of employment. That'll be one of the uses that gets built there, but we'll give them land. We have no ability to tell them when to build. It's back here. We'll build land when it's ready, but they'll build it whenever they decide. Everything else is still very much in the conceptualization phase.
Is the timeline for the 5 remaining homes in Nob Hill, and who are the builders selected?
So Pacesetter owns 2 of those lots, and Brookfield owns the other 3. All 5 are under permitting right now. They all have
For construction.
so yeah, you start seeing those homes going vertical.
And 2 out of the 3 Brookfield homes will be started within 30 days.
State plans for the median on Colton Bluff.
So what you see there is what's staying. So, yeah, there won't be any additional plantings or changing of the plantings. So what was removed was to make room for a bike lane, so that there's an easy connection to the available bike routes.
Follow-on question for that. I assume that years ago to have a medium irrigation with us. I mean, we can make it HOA,
No,
or is it the mud?
no. So the developer installed those medians. I don't know what the cause of change was.
So we fronted the money for the medians, and then working with Travis County, they forced us to take them out, and we said, if you're gonna force us to take it out, you have to pay us back for it, and they did. So the price of the renovation we just saw, they did price share with us to get that back. So before it ever hit the mud, that deduction was essentially taken out before it then hit the mud for the overall. So that was done before it transferred.
Will the monument signage at William Cannon 183 be similar to the William Cannon and McKinney Falls?
I'll let Brad answer.
No. We love the monument at William Cannon, Candy Falls, but there will be a very different type of element at 183 and William Cannon. Put a timeline on that, Adrian?
Probably in the next 6 weeks. I mean, but before that, you'll start seeing what it looks like.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's under construction out there today. We're talking about it this morning, but you should see the full installation in the next, call it 6 weeks, 8 weeks, somewhere in there. So pretty simple.
The increased traffic around the school and U-turns happening, is there any plan to assist with the traffic control and a better drop-off system?
So we're working with Travis County to do a study to assess the current conditions. And we'll get with them with recommendations to aid in circulation and safety. But just like any other roadway in the community, it's up to them what they want to do. we push for things, and that's about where our bandwidth is being able to push. I just had this conversation with the resident the other day. You all have more power than we do, you know. We talk about the slide up here and things like that. You all have more power than we do. We can make suggestions and we're happy to give the dollars to them. It's just up to them when they decide to make a change or if they do.
It is the street. It is the street.
Oh, this next question,
Oh.
they just fast forwarded just a little bit, sorry. So the next question is actually, what is the timeline for the retreat apartment complex?
First phase will be completed mid-2024, and then rest of it should be done by the end of 2024. But we're not building it, so, you know, that's the estimates that we were given from that developer.
What is that? What is the retreat?
It's actually the apartments that are over here by Union Park West. Roads are the next question. So with Union Park Lane being a private road, can a three-way stop be installed?
Union Park Lane will be a public road once it's accepted, so the current traffic configuration is what will remain. Assuming it's the one over here.
It's the one over
Okay.
or west, so where the apartments are, there's that kind of unfortunate line corner, we have fence. It's fly through there, you can't really cross that road safely, so that's our only connection to roughly East Park. That's one of the reasons why we asked the question is, we don't really want to say passengers to.
So I'll repeat my last comment.
Is there any consideration for installing speed bumps throughout the community?
So the roads are owned and maintained by Travis County, which prefer, you know, to move people around faster. I'll just say from a practical standpoint, speed bumps are horrendous in the neighborhood. They are not something that I particularly would ever recommend, especially even if these were private streets. I'd go down kicking and screaming even if every residence, because I've seen people jump those and land in somebody's front yard. So yeah, I don't foresee any speed bumps unless Travis County wants to change their philosophy and start adding them, but I doubt that would occur.
With the increased street parking making it difficult to see around, can fire lanes be painted? And this is gonna be more like, Hillock, Catbird, those areas that,
I'll let AJ.
Any place that's allowed to be parked has then been designed and modeled for parking, so you're only allowed to park a certain distance from the actual intersection. In those intersections, I mean, they're designed using the proper standoff distances per code. So without knowing a very specific instance, all of these things, whenever we push permits forward, these are getting reviewed by all the Travis County traffic engineers, checking the homework on what's assumed there. And so for code and for your judgment, everything fits the parameters. If there's a specific instance that maybe somehow has a nuance, that can always be looked at. But other than that, I mean, that kind of safety requirement is looked at during some.
Definitely maybe a request to the person who asked the question, like which specific intersection, we can maybe give a more specific answer.
absolutely. Feel free, yes?
Yeah, and then particularly has been so bad because you first side of the street and then big vehicles start to go through. One has to stop and the other has to go, and it's really dangerous.
I'll write that down, but if there's any other areas, definitely send me the information. Yes, sir.
Just feeling a lot of these questions are gonna be their city properties, the both roads. Is there like to file like a public request for a traffic study or that nature of the Travis County?
I can get that information and actually provide it. There is a phone number, that
Nothing.
During the recent Travis County Sheriff's Office meeting, it was mentioned of the lack of speed limit signs, especially around the school. They mentioned the need for the traffic survey. Are there any plans for traffic surveys?
Same. On my Travis County. We do what we can, we install what they tell us to and recommendations, but again, it's at their discretion what they want.
As a follow-up, are there plans to install additional speed signs around the neighborhood? Because there really are none.
Yeah, so we brought that to their attention. Do a study that assesses everything, so that we can make decisions off of that. That study is happening right now. So with 30 days, we'll have data. And we can go back to them and say, now these are our opinions. And here's how it touches the data. We can push for what we can. After that, though, then it's a county road. So we're doing everything we can to say, let's help this thing along. We're doing this extra study, we're quantifying it all. At the end of the day, then they get to make and so, like we said, the county tends towards more of a rural mindset of moving people through rural things. Obviously, this feels more urban, so it's more of us trying to get the county to come around to, hey, it's a school, it's the letter of the law. We're trying to do what we can to provide more information, but again, ultimately, it's their decision. So we can only push so far and then let them do that. So as Matt said, people just go straight to the county and say, we feel like our schools are unsafe. Then they're hearing it from our side. They'll hear it from y'all's side, and we'll see where we get with it.
So that's even the same with installing just like physical signage.
All the signage, things like that are per code what it is. If we want anything more than that, the question is, why do you need more than that? So we're providing more data, and we'll see if it gets to it.
Sharing the contact information so we can go ahead and reach out to them.
You can reach out to me and I'll get it. I'll make sure.
The unfortunate reality is the traffic side of the community development business is very prescriptive. There's very little room for creativity, wiggle room. It's all very geometric, sight lines that they was talking about, seeing around corners, speed mitigation. It's all things that they don't provide a lot of flexibility to the developers to say, here's where common sense meets, practical development. It needs to be in a traffic design manual for them to think it's a good idea. So just the reality of it.
So just to help, these next two about crosswalks and streetlights, the same answer. So we don't have to belabor the point and give the same answer over and over again.
But it's fun. Skyline Park. What will the pavilion at Skyline Park be used for?
We will have, church on Tuesdays.
Second.
We're gonna have church on Tuesday where we're praising Matt Chase. What are we doing?
Some pretty exciting things. So that the pavilion at Skyline Park will now be home to all of our signature events, as well as Music in the Park series will move over there. And the events where we have either at the Experience Park or Bryant Park will also gravitate towards that way.
But just to assuage folks, you'll still have events at Bryant Park once Union Park West gets built. You'll still have events there and in different locations.
Absolutely, and that is still a priority for us. Is that we want all of y'all to explore other neighborhoods. So we will go to other parks. Just that our signature events will move to Skyline.
Will there be additional overhead lighting at the pavilion to accommodate evening events?
Yes.
What is the timeline for completion of Skyline Park?
In addition. Yeah, so it'll be a splash pad. It's gonna have different elements from bubblers to sprays to misters. It's gonna be natural shade, so we're installing landscaping for more natural shade. I don't know if there's any additional shade covers.
We'll see how this kind of works out. Yeah, there's a lot of trees getting planted, just like around the neighborhood. baby trees and stuff, but give it a year or two, we'll have full trees around them.
Because it seemed like in some of the permit drawings, there were maybe some.
We can go backwards a couple of, probably more than a couple of slides back to it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the water feature down. Right there.
Right.
Yeah, no pools.
So the next,
So that's the concrete and texture and stuff that looks like blue and stuff. I mean, that's a splash pad. There's no heat into that.
next question is, what is the timeline for the Slaughter Lane extension?
Like we said, it's marking conditions, and when traffic flows also warranted as well.
Will the Slaughter Lane extension include widening McKinney Falls and Thaxton Road?
So that's separate from us. And they've started, but at the delay due to overhead power and other utility.
What is the estimated completion date of William Cannon?
The paving of William Cannon is complete, everything is open. I sat at that light for 5 minutes yesterday. And then over the next 46 months, everything will get landscaped. And then the remaining part of Skyline, or I'm sorry, of William Cannon is futured out in the development when they have 4 lanes.
What kind of landscaping is going on? That.
Whatever the county told us we had to put out.
Call it the general aesthetic of what you see of right now, what you see on the sides, or at least on the south side of William Cannon right there, that'll be continued to the beach. Aesthetic, not as much what you see near the CDS, but more of like what you see right up here at Colton Bluff and William Cannon on the south side there. And then there's also gonna be trees in a very wide median, so right up here, there's actually some trees. And so that same general kind of tying it all in, what you see in the other areas of Easton, that'll be repeated.
Why is the other part of William Cannon?
City boss.
Like by CVS or curbs?
That one is triggered based on the city widening William Cannon west of our property. Because if you look at it, it needs. So, we might be able to open one if we can get, we're working on that to see if we can change it, how it feels and looks in here, but really the real answer to that, that's a question that's coming later. That's in here is that, from what we've heard, they were trying to approve this in January. I haven't had the updates because it's not our project, so we don't have a lot of as many details, but it's not just on a plan, that is a with. So the city and the county both seem to get delayed on their own projects as much as ours do as well. So that's why you see like the Thaxton improvement, that is a county project, and everything west of us is a city project. Both are moving forward. They're just not moving that fast. So that actually gives the full 4 lanes all the way past the CVS. We will push for that as soon as the city's done. But to go back to a former point, we don't own any of that land. Actually, all of that is down Travis County. So converting that is kind of a county thing, so we will definitely. All of that belongs to the county now, so it'll kind of be up to them to actually convert that as well.
What is the estimated start date for the trail under William Cannon bridges connecting Bryant Park and Nob Hill to the Union?
Should start in the next 30 to 60 days.
Will there be speed limit signs installed along William Cannon?
Can anybody guess what I'm gonna say?
Can you provide an update on the widening of William Cannon west of McKinney Falls?
Anybody remember what age it is?
Like,
So that's actually all the questions that we have. Are there any additional questions from the room? Yes.
Is there a property expansion to the other side of Sassman Road? Based on the original, like.
No,
It looks like there's a new big bench over there and that's right.
acreage on the south side. It's not quite what's north of it, but I mean, it's a large chunk that yes, over the next 10 to 12 years, I mean, Easton Park is the big one. So yeah, we own that and then we're working through initial permitting and design of that. So I mean, it's.
Yeah, our next town hall, we'll have a more substantive, development update. And that might be one. I don't think we've gone over an overall project map in a while, so I think that's something.
Isn't that on the Easton Park ACX website, the full land plan that shows the full boundaries of the park?
I don't think the land plan's been updated to show the property beyond Sassman. It might just be classified. I mean, I've looked at it in a couple of months, but.
Yes.
What is being developed on the, I guess, south side of Kiki Park between Kiki and Sassman?
The giant hill.
Big dirt hill?
That's just dirt. Whenever dirt is a commodity for us, so it's dirt that was taken off the Prospect Park. And we're going to need dirt for the slaughter lane construction, so it's just moved over there temporarily, and then when we start building slaughter, that'll get used throughout that project.
Makes sense.
Yes.
What's the status of getting a fancy sign for the Kiki Park neighborhood, like all the other neighborhoods?
Yeah, it's kind of. The fancy sign is at the roundabout at Chrysler Bend and Oswald. And you should see it formed up. I believe it's formed up ready for pouring the concrete. We're gonna make sure the people that are pouring it are doing it right because they did it once, so we didn't like it. We're getting them to fix that before they mess up your Kiki Park sign. And then, and so I mean, it's very, very soon. It's been ahead of a couple of next few months. That sign, there'll be a Skyline and Kiki on the opposite side of the roundabout. That'll match the rest of the neighborhood. It's go over.
What about you, Becky?
Yeah, we're gonna put it on.
Yeah, I think we have an east one coming, same contractor, that ordered signs that's coming at the mouth of.
Yes.
Are you all aware of so as far as the people, they're doing the medium improvements right now? Are you all aware of what they're doing exactly? Because we had a turn lane into our community in Union Park West, but look at the asphalt. And are they closing off parts of the people to force people to go to the light?
Yes, so, there used to be a break
Yes.
at the street that's near CVS, it's Durant.
Yes, and then there's one further up.
So that was illegal for them to have. It's being reopened, but a right only, if you're headed southbound.
Okay.
So that is the reconstruction that you're gonna see there, it's gonna be a put-in turn. And then,
Texas left.
right, but they're reconfiguring it, so they had to first close it all off, get the CVS open. And now we are reconfiguring it, so it's not gonna. I mean, full access to reshaping that, so that's what that is.
So that's a little further south of where I guess there's a one like where Union Park West is. They're just it's very similar to that.
Right,
And I'm just curious, how can you?
I think they're putting that one as well. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to come out
No, that's fine, but we want to make sure.
and take a turn to the way. So it's gonna be one of those where, once that's done there, if you need to go a certain direction, you can't do it right out of there.
You
come
can't
down
go
to
across.
You come down to Colton Bluff and you come to that new light that's about to open as well.
That's fine.
I mean, it just comes with the amount of traffic and stuff. It's slightly inconvenient, but then it makes sure that you don't have huge standoffs where people are sitting at lights and then people playing chicken and just jumping out in the middle of the median and stuff like that. So again, it's all by
Oh, no.
predetermined code of what's allowed. and
Oh, no,
what's not.
that's fine.
Yeah.
We just wanted to confirm this. Again,
Right.
one of the questions that we got from our community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to thank them for keeping the bluebonnets on shore and ask that they not trim quite so close along How's ours there? Boy, did they really threw the way back. But, you know, during the spring, it would be nice. That's the beauty of the communities. I'd love to have more.
Thank you for that feedback.
Do we have any questions online?
We do. Mhm.
Let's take a couple questions.
Do you want to?
Yes, the first one is, are we going to have a sports court?
Yes, and in Union Park West, we'll have basketball, half court and
It's a,
How many pickleball?
how many pickleball? Just one pick.
The second question is similar to that. Would we have a space for a tennis court?
Currently not planned, but you know, we're a 10th-ish through the development of this community, so there's still the south side amenity and other parks to come in the community. Make sure you take the livability survey. You know I had to say it. Every town hall's gotta come out.
Yeah, yes.
No, we'll, I don't know if we'll do one this year, just because where we're at in development, it might not make sense, and those cost quite a few bucks. HOA doesn't pay for it, we pay for it, but,
So you're
Yeah.
to take a really certain thing about it.
we might not do a full one this year. I want to get a full one out, so I want to give you all a break.
The last question that has been asked, I saw a post on the neighbor app about seeing snakes on the trail already. Is there any pest control happening community-wide?
Not regarding the trails with the snakes at this time. I mean, I don't really know what our options would necessarily be for that. I know that it's the season. They're starting to come out. I mean, it's something that we just have to be aware of. And as obviously with the development, it changes, we're going to see them. Do we have any other questions from the room?
Conception question. We have cabinet broken. There's gonna be tens of thousands of people that live in this. It would be bigger than San Marcos. I can picture a wonderful location out here for an Austin Community College campus. Because there's not one really this large. High schools. Like a wonderful future plan, but probably a decade away.
We have land for sale.
Jason. You can look up on TCAS. Email to owners there and say they should start working.
one last question, it's probably gonna be for you, and it's not. So we have the foundations for our signage at Union Park West. Just curious, do you know roughly when the actual, I guess, the monument portion will actually be going in?
That was the concrete that we did not like. It was not up to our standards. So we're gonna get fixed.
All right.
Those will be the next ones. They're getting fixed. They work. They get it.
Oh, just out of curiosity.
The finish on it.
Okay.
It just poor craftsmanship that they're gonna redo. So.
Any other questions? Well, perfect. Well, I have one last thing. Just wanted to let you guys know, the community live team has really taken a deep dive into neighbor network. That's another one of the questions that I get a lot of people is the portal that we have and how easy it is to access the information on neighbor. The community life team is actually evaluating that. Y'all are going to see a revamped neighbor before too long. So if you start seeing things change and it's a little confusing, I apologize, just bear with us because we are actually trying to maneuver things. If you've got any feedback as we kind of roll this out, please give this to us because I definitely want to make sure that you have access to all the information that is on neighbor because that holds your financials, your documents, a lot of the information you can find on there. It holds your maps. There's so much stuff as well as contact information. So again, I just wanted to let everybody know we are going to be addressing that and looking into that. So if you've got any feedback, any questions, let me know. Yes, ma'am.
The document that is up there was last updated.
Okay, appreciate the feedback.
So just to touch on that, how many of y'all are on Neighbor Network? And keep your hand up if you like Neighbor Network.
It works.
I have no skin in the game either way, but I've heard complaints from the team, so Cohere actually has their own division that creates websites. They do very good websites. It's just not cheap. So, and that one, the association would have to pay for. So I have my board member hat on right now, of, deciding whether or not that's something that we put in the budget for next year. Can't do it this year, but, maybe that's something we put in the budget for next year.
Some of the forms, functions are actually really shareable.
Yeah.
You can attest to where it's.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't have, it looks like we don't have any additional questions. We do have one question. Sorry.
There is one question. Following the community college question, is there a way for us to request specific types of development?
We have the livability survey that's going to be coming out. Make sure that we fill that out. And not only that, again, if we've got requests or ideas, throw them my direction. I meet with Matt on a weekly basis, and if not, he's a phone call away. I can get questions and information over to them if it's extremely important. But it is important to Brookfield. I want everybody to know that it is important to Brookfield as well as the board and the community life to get this feedback. So one, we can make sure that we hear what you're saying and addressing any of these issues and concerns, but also to give us a better idea for future planning. So it's something that, again, livability, we talk about it all the time. I think it's the first time I didn't bring it up, but we will definitely get that information out. And when we get the livability survey and those results, we will share them also with everybody because we want to know what the community is also looking at and wanting. So I don't have any additional information. I'm giving you 6 minutes back. Thank you all for coming tonight.
So